Follow me on a grand media tour through this grand terminal, telling the story of the building's past, present, and future. I'm Helle Andersen, and I've got that story. I am going on the last ride through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. I'm Helle Andersen, and I've got that story. These artists explored the sense of time so that you can spend time at this great exhibit. I'm Helle Andersen, reporting for Transit News. Hurricane Sandy crippled the A-line. These trains are being lifted and put on trucks to be driven out to Far Rockaway. The North Channel Bridge, which connects Howard Beach to Broad Channel, suffered severe damage, as did the tracks and supporting roadbed across the section of Broad Channel known as the Flats. There is no working signal system. The rails are twisted, and in some areas the supporting roadbed is completely washed away. The Broad Channel station was filled nearly to the platform edge with debris washed in by the storm, including a jet ski and a speedboat. In order to bring limited service to the Rockaways, lowboy trucks had to be used to move subway cars one by one.
Rockaways have been devastated. There's been an area of track that's been undermined from the storm, so we want to take 20 subway cars from here and bring them down to Rockaway Park.
It takes about an hour to lift one 80,000-pound car body. Adding to the difficulty of the operation, they were lifted from an elevated track in Ozone Park and gingerly placed on the lowboy flatbed trucks.
We have about 8 hourly employees, 4 up on the structure, 4 down in the street. And we have rope attached to the car. They call them tag lines. So there'll be 4 people that can control the car when it's in the air.
Main thing we got to watch out for is the wind, shifting the weight, and we got some power lines over here that we don't want to come in contact with. But pretty much it's straightforward. The crane operator's got control of the load. We give him the hand signals. He's able to move it into position. We lower it down onto the trucks and tie it down. It goes on its way.
Crews had to work overnight in order to have a clear road to move these 80-foot lowboy trailers through the streets of the city.
We have a liaison with the police department. We're getting a police escort. So what happens from here? We're on Pitkin Avenue right now. We take it down to Cross Bay Boulevard, which is a few blocks down. It makes the left, and it's escorted straight down Cross Bay Boulevard, over the Cross Bay Memorial Bridge, down into Rock Park.
How many train cars are going to be transported, and where will the shuttle run?
We're transporting 20 R32 cars to operate a shuttle between Far Rockaway and Rockaway Park stations. The very purpose that we're doing this for is because the tracks are washed out between the Rockaways and the rest of the system. And so what we're doing is we're trying to establish a shuttle so that we can serve the passengers of the Rockaways with a train. There'll be bus that will connect to the rest of the system.
Once in the storm-ravaged Rockaways, it took some maneuvering of the lowboy into place to unload a car on the tracks while avoiding the barbed wire fence.
I think it went very well. We've done these a few times. First time took a long time to set up, but we've gotten progressively better at this, and so you can see a lot of people involved and at great precision. One thing I did want to say is we're very proud of the fact that we're able to bring rail service to the Rockaways. These people have been devastated. You can see out here that just the state of how things are in this neighborhood. We felt that bringing rail service was important to not only the MTA, NYCT, but also to the passengers out here.
Lots of problems down there on the peninsula, but on the flats leading over the Jamaica Bay, we actually had a couple sizable washouts in the track. All of that is being repaired as we speak. Our hope is that in a few months, or a month or so, or a few months it may take, we hope to have service back to the peninsula up and running. We provide a very essential service. We have to be there. And so maintaining this service, keeping it reliable, keeping it safe, that's what we're all about, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
These trains being loaded on the track is the beginning of shuttle service here in the Rockaways until the main line is repaired. I'm Helle Andersen, reporting for Transit News. Using dramatic lighting and oversized images, the New York Transit Museum celebrates Grand Central.
We're celebrating the 100th anniversary of Grand Central Terminal, and this exhibition is the Transit Museum's we wanted to create a centerpiece around which the whole celebration could sort of revolve. We decided not to do a chronology. We decided that we wanted to look at different themes about Grand Central that people just may not know about. So people may not know all the interesting things that were taking place in Grand Central over the last 100 years.
The exhibition in the terminal's Vanderbilt Hall is called Grand by Design. It features the museum's historical collection, and it also presents the terminal itself as an artifact.
It's a mixture of photographs. We have original architectural drawings of the building, artifacts from the building's history, and we also have a future section about the East Side Access Project, which is going on right now, 180 feet below us.
And the exhibition really is grand, filling up the space from floor to ceiling.
I think that whenever anyone's designing anything in Grand Central, it's pretty difficult because of the 50-foot ceilings that are in the space. And I think the one thing that we wanted to do was to create some large structures and to give a lot of presence for the exhibition. So we've built a number of large aluminum frameworks and made projection a big part of the exhibition.
The exhibition is organized around many themes that address the terminal's far-reaching impact on New York City.
The exhibition is really split up into 9 different sections where people can experience the history, the development up to the current terminal and what's next for the terminal.
It tells a lot of different stories. I mean, not just the restoration of the building and the construction and history, but Grand Central's a lot of different things to a lot of different people. This is also, besides being a train station, sort of like New York's town square.
Grand by Design highlights fascinating aspects of the building that are rarely seen by the public.
We just restored a sign from the Grand Central Theater, which was a theater located here in the terminal, and this hung on the exterior of the building and practically was in the scrap heap, and so we've restored it for this exhibition, and it's one of several things that we've been able to locate and restore for the exhibition.
Interactive, life-size images of employees of Grand Central will answer all of your questions. The exhibit will be up until March 15th.
So that somebody in 1913 who suddenly reappeared back in the terminal today really wouldn't have noticed too much of a difference.
There's a lot to see and a lot of knowledge. I can't wait to bring my grandson.
I've lived in New York all my life and been here many times, and I'm learning more and more as I walk around. I think it's really very extraordinary.
I love the suitcases there because they're really historical, I can see history in that. I can see history in this place. Yeah, in this place. I think it's awesome. Everything's awesome.
Going from grand in size to a smaller scale with Lego? Also on display was a replica of Grand Central Terminal made entirely out of Lego bricks.
We had 5 model builders building this. It took them 90 hours to build it. It's over 2,000 bricks. And this model is going to be part of our mini land, which is actually encompassing 1.5 million bricks.
The replica attracted hundreds of admirers of all ages throughout the day.
So I'm just trying to take a picture of this from memory for my grandchildren. It's fabulous, perfect. It's amazing. I didn't even recognize it was Legos. It looks so real.
We've celebrated the past and the future of Grand Central Terminal, big and small. I'm Helle Andersen reporting for Transit News. The Brooklyn Battery Tunnel is a true marvel of construction and the longest continuous underwater tunnel in the United States. It could have been a bridge if Robert Moses, chairman of the Triborough Bridge Authority, had his way. His plan to build a bridge that connected Manhattan and Brooklyn divided public opinion.
This became a tremendously unpopular idea because it would have ruined the lower Manhattan skyline. If you can imagine a huge bridge off Battery Park. The most famous protester of the bridge was Eleanor Roosevelt, who wrote in her column, My Day, it was a newspaper column she had at the time, that it was really a shame that in the name of efficiency we were going to have to lose the skyline and lose the park.
The designer and chief engineer of the tunnel, Ollie Singstad, was fired because he didn't back Moses' plan for a bridge. The controversy was put to an end on July 17, 1939, when Secretary of War Harry Woodring vetoed the bridge for national security reasons. Conceived in 1929, the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel was proposed to relieve traffic on the 3 East River bridges. It took another 7 years for the project to be approved. Tunnel construction began in October of 1940 with President Franklin D. Roosevelt attending the groundbreaking ceremony. Robert Olmsted, an engineer who worked on the tunnel between 1946 and 1949, explains how a tunnel of such great importance was built.
The battery tunnel was built by what we call the shield method. Shield is a device that covers the part of the tunnel that has already been built and projects out a bit ahead of that so that the workers can work under its protection.
The front of the shield had a cutting edge that was 31 feet in diameter. The rear had an arm which placed the steel rings that then lined the tunnel. There were a total of 4 tunnels that were excavated. 1 from Manhattan, 1 from Brooklyn, and 2 from Governor's Island.
I was the first one to walk from Manhattan to Governor's Island after the tunnel was holed through.
The tunnel workers, also known as sandhogs, worked in compressed air under very stressful conditions.
It was very warm, it was very misty, it was very noisy because they were drilling in rock. Then it was very quiet as they were loading the holes with dynamite, and then boom, 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 boom after the cry, fire in the hole, and I was ready to quit right then and there, but I did last another 2.5 years.
Due to material shortages during World War II, construction on the tunnel ceased for 3 years. With the merger of the Triborough Bridge Authority and the New York City Tunnel Authority, work resumed in the fall of 1945. In September of 1948, when the tubes met in the middle of New York Harbor, they were only 3/8 of an inch off center, incredible accuracy for its day. Over the next year and a half, the concrete linings of the tubes, the wall, ceiling tiles, and the pavement were completed. On May 25, 1950, opening ceremonies were held for the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. Mayor William O'Dwyer and other dignitaries attended.
I'm happy to compliment not only the engineers, George Spargo and his group of the Bridge and Tunnel Authority, but to Bob Moses especially. Every thanks of this city goes for his energy and thought in following through this magnificent improvement.
The total cost of the project was well over $90 million. During the first year of its opening, 13.9 million vehicles passed through this piece of New York history. Today, around 16.5 million cars pass through the tunnel each year. And now, the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel has been renamed after the late New York State Governor, Hugh L. Carey.
As we dedicate this bridge for Governor Carey, these are the things that really matter. This bridge is more than just a tunnel. It really supports commerce, traffic every day. It's about life. It's about connectivity. It's about heroism. It is about our city and our state. And it really symbolizes so much. And that's why there's no more fitting tribute than to honor former Governor Carey in this manner.
Members of Carey's family, Mayor Bloomberg, MTA Chairman Joseph Lota, and other officials attended the ceremony to rename the tunnel.
As proud as we are of all that he accomplished, we are equally humbled by this tribute. On behalf of the Carey family and extended friends of you, Leo Carey, we say thank you to the people of the state of New York for making this possible.
Every day, thousands of commuters, however, don't take the subway. They drive through this tunnel and into Hugh Carey's old congressional district. And they're thinking of work, perhaps, or home, or school, or their to-do list for that day. And from this day forward, if only for a moment, they'll also think of Hugh L. Carey.
To commemorate the historical day, the MTA unveiled the new stainless steel lettering, declaring it the Hugh L. Carey Tunnel.
Hugh Carey was very instrumental in the MTA. He was the one who developed our capital plan. Without that capital plan, the deteriorating subways would not have changed around. I encourage anybody to go back and look what the subways looked like in the 1970s before he became governor and look at them today. The stations are much better, the trains are much better, the entire experience is much better. That's all because he had the foresight to develop the capital plan.
You can take the Jackie Robinson Parkway into Brooklyn, the Robert F. Kennedy Bridge into Queens, and now you can take the Hugh L. Carey Tunnel into Manhattan. I'm Helle Andersen, reporting for Transit News.